boy alive, did we have some crazy weather yesterday. Winds out all over the place. Here's the deal. I hope that most of you that were driving in it, well, let me put it this way. I hope you weren't driving in it. We talked about it. We had Buckle Up Bob on here. We put the warnings out there. Listen, when it comes to wind, when it comes to snow, that ice, there are certain things you don't gamble with, you don't take a chance with.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, there were reports yesterday. They closed 70. They closed a lot of highways yesterday. There was a lot of vehicles overturned yesterday with high-profile vehicles getting pitched because of the high winds. You're talking in excess of 100 miles an hour yesterday on high winds, straight line winds blowing around and knocking. And you know what? It doesn't matter what you have in the box at that point. You're driving down the road. You're getting pushed over.
Yeah, for sure. And when it comes to that Highway 287, we speak about that. For some reason, we get a lot of videos here showing Highway 287 up in Lamar, Colorado. That's the area. Drive safe, Dave. Over 107 miles an hour is what the gusts were going. And many places in Colorado were greater than 80 miles an hour. We saw some videos of there, some pictures of that. Producer, I'm going to say this. I think there's a news station on one of these. I don't know if you can show it or not, but it shows the wind that went through Kansas. And I think it was that Salina area. But Dave, I'm telling you, it's been a long time since I've seen wind like that. It was, you know how it is in Arizona when that brings them dust storms in?
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of what we saw yesterday in Kansas. And it now starts affecting what's going on in the country, right? Because all of a sudden now, and it's not that the shippers and receivers are shutting down. They're still open. They're still making products. They're still creating those magical widgets. But what happens is now the trucks that were supposed to get empty this morning, that are maybe supposed to get empty tomorrow on a Friday.
Oh, yeah.
Now they're not going to make it, right?
Oh, yeah.
They're not going to get there perhaps to get unloaded and get reloaded. And all of a sudden in a tight supply chain that we're in right now, it starts putting quirks in it. Why? Well, because next week is typically the week that trucks begin to shut down, especially those owner-operators, independent contractors. The largest vacation period for truck drivers is between that Christmas and New Year. And when drivers go out, right, on the week of a Christmas on a Saturday, if they're not home by Wednesday, they're starting to get a little antsy. Am I going to get home? And hey, that one more load sometimes doesn't work. So what we do see is a lot of drivers shutting down. And Dave, when we look at the volume right now, we see it still at 14,715. We see it remaining very consistent, kind of like we had spoke about, talking about the winds and how it was going to work out. So we see those volumes working out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So sorry about that. I'm switching locations here. Hey, but I got way too close to you. I almost felt like I was getting ready to.
I didn't know we were hugging. I didn't know we were going to put arms around each other and talk about freight.
I was thinking, you know what? Am I getting ready to table dance this guy? I didn't know what my next move was going to be. I just looked and I saw Dave taking out dollar bills. And I was like, well, this is getting uncomfortable. Hey, but drive safe. We're going to go right back to looking at the outbound volume. And when we look at this compared to years past, and we compare it to last year, we're about the same amount of volume moving today as we had moving out last year. And you can see the difference between years past. A lot of freight continues to move out. We see the rejections as well. And what rejections are that freight that's being rejected. We're saying, no, I'm not going to pull it. And we see it about 19% right now. 19.63%. And what we see and what will happen next week is that number will balloon up to about 26% because trucks aren't out there, right? They're going to be, the trucks will be, heading home or, when they get home Monday, they're not going to go back out. And when we see the weather like this, Dave, come into play, it really does make a huge effect on this supply chain because we just lost another day or two or possibly three because drivers, companies are in a bind right now. Hey, if you're a shipper receiver and you're just like, well, you're late on your appointment, you're going to have to change your approach on that. Realtree, some of the danger of that is that mess, right? I mean, you think about a Realtree, the reason they're beautiful, they smell good. I love that smell of it, but they leave a mess, drive safe, Dave.
Oh, they do.
And in South Africa, You know, let me tell you something. It gets a little more dangerous out there. Not just cleaning up the remnants on the floor. There is a video there from CNN yesterday. A snake inside that tree.
Okay. So
hold on. Whoa.
Yeah.
I'm out on this. And there's a video that shows this snake. And this sucker's big.
Yeah, and it's a dangerous python too. I mean, it's a dangerous pit. It has venom.
It's a boom slang. It looks like a boom slang. What kind of snake is that?
A boom slang.
I think it's a viper.
Yeah.
Huh?
A boom slang.
It looks like a boom slang.
Yeah, a boom slang. Have you used boom slang before this week ever in your vocabulary?
Listen, I grew up in Central America.
They have no boom slang.
I know a boom slang when I see one. I'm curious to see. That is not that's a boom slang. I'm telling you right now.
It's indigenous only to Africa, by the way, just so you know. Unless it was imported and you had one.
Have you ever heard of a zoo? You know what? You don't see elephants just running around the street out here, but you go to the local zoo.
I don't think this was a zoo animal.
Those.
I don't believe this to be a zoo animal. But I'll tell you what's weird. And I watched the video. This tree was trimmed. Like they've already put the lights up and the balls and everything on the tree. And then here we go. We've got a snake. So yeah, come on, producer.
Well, okay, to be completely fair here, and if you read through the article again, apparently the boom slang was a very shy snake. So maybe it was
Did
getting
you see
trimmed
the video?
up.
It didn't look shy.
Hey, it was shy whenever it was getting trimmed up. I'd be freaked out if there were 3 huge things clipping around me in my home, and I had an opportunity to escape. I'd be getting out, but initially it's a shy snake, though it is one of the most
So what
venomous.
kind of snake was it?
Really? What is a
What is it? What kind of? Anyway,
what's a non-shy snake?
You know what? So the snake, it was in there, and it did. I mean, so they got done. They decorated the tree.
That's what
it not only did it get trimmed up, no, it was fully decorated as well. In the house, everything's there. They're done doing. They step back, and the cats are sitting there looking at the tree. Right? The cats are looking at the tree. They're like, man, we did a great job. Look at the kitty cats just staring at the tree, only to find out them cats were staring at something else.
Snake.
Yeah, I just can't imagine. Those snakes freak me out.
I don't like snakes.
Any snake, especially the dreaded boom slang. You've got to watch out for the dreaded boom slang.
We're going to see here, there's 2 places that are just unacceptable. I wouldn't want to be this car. Get out of there, and it finally does. And then the truck behind it is, why would you put that? I mean, there is nothing that can happen to that white car but that good in this situation if something goes wrong. I mean, they're caught in nowhere. There's no reason for this. Great job by this driver staying back. Again, you've got trucks just unprofessional, tailgating each other. Again, this driver is keeping some space as best as they can. But great job here. But you can see on the right, the trucks are tailgating. That's less than a half a second, folks. I mean, there's just no reason to do that. The industry, when you see these on a CB, I don't know, maybe the drivers can share. Is it a good idea to get on a CB and say, hey, maybe back off a little bit and, give the guy some space? Or is that not a frowned upon in the trucking world?
They probably don't have a CB anymore, but
Well,
I would say this is that, you know what? We want to continue to share these videos, share the message that when you find yourself in that situation, you have to. And what I'm going to say is that they just don't realize how close they are. They're not thinking. They're not counting out loud. They don't realize genuinely drive safe. That man, if something happens in front of me, I have no out. They don't think about that, or they wouldn't do it. Right? You wouldn't intentionally put your life at risk.
Yeah, and here you've got two trucks running side by side this close. There is no out except to the right. A very dangerous situation. And you know what? It is, and I'll bet you that flatbedder's got a CB. They just do, so they can talk at construction sites. But what a weird situation, a dangerous situation. Great video, shows what's going on, and it is a precarious situation for all 4 of these trucks.
Yeah, it's a good reminder too. When we talk about the big picture, we it's been a while since we defined that, but in the guidance, if you will, when the safety guidelines, the big picture is all the way across the traffic on the other opposite direction, all the way to that tree line on the right. The big picture just isn't on the 2 lanes in your road. So again, you got to have that big picture to see it. Do I have an out? As you can see, very little on the right because you got tree lines there. So again, and you've got the dividers there, the retaining cables, I guess they are, on the left. So you really don't have an out there. It starts out pretty good. You know, the speed is down 50 miles an hour, and then it turns out in a quick lane change. There couldn't have been that much clearance. You see it disappear in the mirror, but there couldn't have been, unless bobtailing, there couldn't have been that much clearance behind from this truck there on the left. Hey, be patient, right? Just be patient and make a nice, steady lane change. Here's a great job by driver. Again, speed management and space are perfect. You got a last-minute lane change there. 2 of them, you can see him squeezing in up there. And great job as driver, staying back, recognizing the situation, and that, hey, I'm not going anywhere. I will get where I'm going, but I'm going to do it safely.
Good job in the in the tunnel, right? I mean, that's,
Dallas.
Yeah, that's over in
Area.
Yeah.
Again, here on the roads, you know, the reminder, the weather, right? It doesn't look like there's a whole lot of precipitation that came out here, but again, speed. Speed is a factor in every accident. It's the number one accident. Just a few miles slower can prevent things. And as you can see, this truck driver looks like he lost a little control. You can see some of the tire marks there approaching it, and it looks like it was heading this direction from the best I can tell with all the tire marks there, and just turned around. Looks like it might have kept it upright somehow as well. Again, here, the light's yellow. The speed was such. Don't need to run through the yellow light, folks. Just be patient. Go ahead and stop. Intersections are one of the dangerous places on the highways and roadways. So, again, plenty of time. Speed was great. Just a bad decision to go through a yellow light right there when we could have. This driver could have been able to stop.
You know, and what's scary about this is that as you watch the vehicle in front, we're not really slowing down as the vehicle comes to a slow. We're timing it so that we pass not only the yellow, the intersection, but if that truck has to come to a stop because of a pedestrian or because of another vehicle, you're putting yourself in a difficult situation here. Just go ahead and stop. The light's green, the light's red.
Yeah, and I wonder, and I really do, what was, I wonder what this driver's carrying in that trailer right now. Is he carrying a load of hearts? Is he organs? Is there something in there that's way worth the minute and a half he was going to lose at this? Was he en route? Was this driver en route with a load of, transplants? I mean, is that what it was? Because and you have a whole, hospital waiting on you.
No.
Because Drive Safe Dave,
that's a hazmat.
We're a minute and a half, 2 minutes. I mean, this light is yellow for 3 seconds.
Absolutely.
And we make that decision that whatever it is on my back end is worth this chance. It's worth a ticket. It's worth hurting somebody. It's worth killing somebody. It's worth the let's just face it. Let's just say it took him 2 minutes. It's worth the mile I went. It's worth a mile and a half. That and if I'm getting paid by the mile, if you're getting paid $2 a mile, was that decision worth that $2? Was it worth it? Because that's what it comes down to. And you don't make that decision if you're thinking about life safety, your insurance, your ticket, your profession, your career in this industry, and you run that light. It doesn't make any sense.
Terrific point. You're basically saying a life's worth $2 or whatever. And it's like we all know if we asked them, they'd say it's priceless, right? But then our decisions say otherwise. Again, you can see wet, just starting to thaw a little bit in the area. And again, another truck. Upright, which is good, but again, slid off the road.
Yep.
And again, just got to slow down, folks. Speed is just critical.
So buckle up, Bob. When you're doing when you're talking to the safety directors out there on BCB Live, when you're putting those alerts out, saying, hey, you don't need to go in this area. The reason why we're saying that many times is that it's not worth getting in this situation right here. Drive Safe Dave, you've been out there, you've done it. You're white knuckling at this moment. I'm saying, you know what? Let that thaw out. Don't, and so when you see alerts from your trucking company that say, hey, you know what? Shut down now. And you're like, I'm 100 miles away. I'm 200 miles away. Why am I shutting down now? Because there's no point in getting into this right here. We've got to work together. We've got to appreciate those alerts and those, the weather, Mother Nature. I just can't imagine, Dave. I mean, I'll just be honest with you. This gives me anxiety because I don't want to be out there on that crap.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, this is probably, notice how much traffic there is. This to me is a slowdown maybe due to an accident because of this.
Yes.
And
for sure.
And this is everybody being pushed down and slowed down because of this. that probably from the night before. This may be a morning run. This may be an early morning time from when the weather changed bad or got drastic. And everybody, it's cleared up a little bit. Everybody's coming out of the truck stops. Everybody's getting out there.
Yep.
But this is what you're running into for everybody that last night chose not to pull over, right? Everybody that chose, you know what, I'm going to brave the storm and roll in the storm. And you know what? It's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's not worth the stress. And you may make it, but I'm telling you what, you're worn out. You come down a mountain in the snow or you come across bad weather like this, you are blistered when you're done.
Yeah, and there's moments, and it's a crazy thing about weather. I mean, you can do all you were doing. You can prep all you want to, but you have no idea what can happen up to you 60 miles from where you are. There's no alerts yet because nothing's happened yet. You see it in Wyoming with the wind. This is, I bet you this is in Arizona, somewhere up there, right? Is this Arizona?
Arizona.
We saw the weather yesterday in Arizona, and sometimes it happens, and now you're in it.
Coming out of Winslow, looks like.
There you go. You're in it, and though you're in it, you can't just pull off the road now. Now you've got to slow your speed down, right? Get your mindset back into safety first because you're not going anywhere fast in this.
Oh, no, you're not. No, obviously
right?
not.
I mean, you're not going anywhere. So mentally, you got to slow it down too.
And here's the new technology out there. And again, it just gives the driver all kinds of information. 68 and a 70. This is still tailgating. So wanted to show this video just because it may not feel like you're tailgating. But again, at 68, you are doing, and just as a reminder, all drivers out there, at 65 miles an hour, you are traveling 100 feet per second. And before you even begin to slow down, you will travel 2 to 2.5 seconds by assessing a problem, hitting the brakes, and then beginning to slow down. So when you're less than that 2 seconds behind them, that means you're going to hit them. If they stop before you, you're going to hit them before you even start to slow down.
And part of that new technology, producer, if you want to show that last video again, is I want you to kind of touch into that because what you see in that upper right-hand corner now is the miles per hour that you're driving. Bob, I'm going to ask you this because it seems like the technology is also out there, and maybe it says, and I just can't say, I can't see it, that says how far you are behind. Where is that at?
Yes, the new technology does say, it'll say, and what I really love about it, it doesn't just say you're 1 second behind, it says 0.9 seconds to impact. I mean, it really hits home.
Is it not going to say it on the screen?
Yeah, it should say it up there in the top corner.
Okay, gotcha. I just can't see it then.
And then also the new technology gives the driver a quick, hey,